You were good. I was not gonna come and play that game again.
Mhm. I do. Get out in a second.
Can you send me one? It's like, this doesn't list.
Sure, I can take, I haven't looked at it.
Why? Because this doesn't handle.
Send myself a message.
Just whenever. You don't have to do it now.
No, I'm gonna
whenever
just
you
send
think
myself a
about
message
it.
so I don't
Yeah,
forget.
Thank you. Soon we're going to Mike's.
Yeah, I'm on it.
All right, thank you for your patience as we come back from executive session here. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any questions or comments? Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Brings us to communications. We have one Harris Beach legal alert. Anything, anybody hear anything else?
No, but I just had a question on the legal alert. So it's increasing the amount of minutes for those kids that are not receiving in classroom.
Yes,
So we're going from,
2 to 3 hours.
okay, and are
Yes.
we already doing that?
Yes, started the
So
first day of school.
And that's minimum. We could do more, but it's,
Yes. That's the
Okay.
standard. Yep.
so we're already there.
Anything else? All right, moves on to unfinished business. We have none, and that brings us to the superintendent's report. Dr. Genestri.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Battaglia. Call this up here. So for tonight's meeting, just a couple of updates for the board. We'll start with some sad news. A distinguished alumni Wall of Fame member and just a great community member, class of 1989 from Sweet Home, Dr. E. Brooke Lerner has passed away. She passed away on October 4th. She was inducted into our Wall of Fame this year and had just an amazing speech for all of those that were in attendance about her time in Sweet Home, but how it influenced her work to be a pioneer in emergency medicine and be really at the forefront as a, like I said, pioneer in the field. She's a 3-time graduate at the University of Buffalo, and she returned back in 2019 as a tenured professor and vice chair of research in the Department of Emergency Medicine, Jacobs School, after a prolific research career at the University of Rochester and the Medical College of Wisconsin. She continued to work during her illness and was recently awarded 4 more years of funding as a principal investigator to lead research on improving pre-hospital care for children through federally funded Pediatric Emergency Care Applied Research Network. for which she was a past chair. She led the development of the current national guideline for mass casualty triage and her research, which prospectively enrolled over 12,000 adults and 12,000 children treated by EMS and was in the national field of triage. And she wrote guidelines for triage and trauma care. So just wanted to recognize Dr. Ebrook Lerner and thank her for her contributions and know that she's in the thoughts and prayers of our district. And like I said, class of '89, and just an incredible speech via video that she gave during her
When she
ceremony.
gave that speech, a few of us were there, she knew she was kind of towards the end of her journey.
Yes.
And it was just uplifting to see a person just give such words of encouragement and all that she's accomplished. So she really will be missed, but what a mark she's left in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely. We also wanted to take some time to recognize that October 16th through the 20th is School Board Recognition Week. We wanted to thank the members of our board, President Amy Battaglia, Vice President Peter Belanti, Josh Feldman, Marianne Jason, Scott Johnson, Brian Leibel, and Kaylee McDonald for your volunteership, most importantly, but your leadership in guiding us and leading our district. The countless number of hours and that you put in, all for the betterment of student causes, is very much noted, and we can't say thank you enough for your time and efforts. We also provided the board with the book, The Happiness Factor, and I know many of us in our district have done exercises on the Happiness Factor. We encourage you to watch the TED Talk on the Happiness Factor, but first and foremost, just say thank you for your service to Sweet Home.
We're all going to Disney?
We're all going to Disney. Sure, absolutely. On October 11th, we had our parent forum on school safety. It was well publicized, and we had our partner networks from the United States Secret Service, the Amherst Police Department, Town of Tonawanda, and Horizon Health Services all present. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank publicly our partners from the Amherst Police Department, Captain Charles Persons, Detective David Schneider, who did a great talk on some of the risks and things that are out in our communities now. Our SRO, Officer Arnold, was in attendance, as was Officer Trey Johnson, who is the community support person for the Amherst Police Department. They worked hand in hand with our Town of Wanda Representative Detective Lieutenant Amanda Tabor. She was also in attendance talking about school safety. Special Agent Ryan Flynn, the dangers of online social media and what's out there for kids, really an informative. We made a great connection with him, and he has actually a school age curriculum that he's always willing to share with us on some of the dangers and some of the things that kids can avoid online. And then from the mental health side, Shakira Henry from Horizon Health Services was there to talk about the impact social media can have on students' mental health. So all in all, a great 2.5 hour, I would say, program, lots of information, and really demonstrating that Sweet Home works with fantastic partners in safety to keep our school and community safe.
Thank you to Mrs. Valens, who
Yes.
set up, kind of coordinated all the efforts. So thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but
It was a great night. I
It
appreciate
It
everyone's,
was.
support and attendance, and, it's a continued conversation. It's not a one and done.
we're already talking about next year, how we want to bring it back together and what some of the other topics might be. So, so we will continue that conversation. Our last parent university is Thursday, October 19th at the middle school from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Parents will see demonstrations in Desmo Math and Open Science Ed Science. There is a registration form on our website that parents can also fill in if they would like to attend. And I don't know, Dr. Wilson, if you wanted to comment on the first one and how it went. And
So the first one was So the first one was last week, focused on the elementary Imagine Learning, which is aligned to the middle school math that we have, that we're implementing this year. Lots of fun. We actually went through lessons like we would in class, and the teachers took their time unpacking the new language shifts, what's different from when you took math in school to today, and what can you expect? Where can you go to look for things to support your child when they come home and you say, what did you do? And they say, nothing. Where to go? That's our goal also with the middle school. Just lots of fun. And so we all were there as students and engaging in the math and the shifts that students have to engage in around their thinking and not necessarily learning tricks to solve math problems, but how do you think about mathematics? So looking forward to tomorrow or Thursday. So, and anyone who wants to stop by, please do.
Great, thank you. We're going to continue to promote the thought exchange regarding our next capital project. We've already had over 400 participants in the thought exchange. And the simple question is, the district starts to plan for the next capital improvement project, what enhancements to our facilities need to happen to prepare our students to be ready for the future. So we're going to continue to send the link out to parents and to our school community to make sure and encourage everybody to provide their thoughts and input. And then after that's closed in November, we will hold focus groups on the information that's provided. And then, like I said last week, we do have our first building use committee on the 25th, where we'll talk about thought exchange and where we are with that, and start planning out how we want to attack the next capital project. And just a plug for our Dollars for Scholars craft show, October 21st, and from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the high school gym. There will be over 110 crafters on display. We have sold out once again. All the proceeds go to Dollars for Scholars. And we passed out about $110,000 worth of scholarships last year to nearly 100 students, I believe you told me. And
105 students.
is that
105 students.
105 students. So anybody out there, please attend the money. It's a great time. There's a ton of items to buy, and all the money goes to a great cause. So I don't know, Mr. Feldman, if you had any more comments on
Everybody's
that.
favorite day of the year. As Mike said, we have 110 crafters. The high school PTSA will be there. They do a basket raffle that they have, I think, over 50 some baskets. That's their primary fundraiser for their scholarships for the course of the year. So it is one of our major fundraisers for Dollars for Scholars. I would be remiss if I didn't thank John Campolo on the high school baseball team, the girls varsity lacrosse team, and the coach's name is escaping me. Jane, thank you, Jane. And then the high school junior class council, and Lisa Fayes, who are working the door for us. Without the student volunteer help, we're not setting up 110 tables by ourselves. So they do a great job. So it is a good day, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd.
Awesome. Great. And that's what I have for tonight. If there's any questions.
Discuss where we do.
Yeah.
All right. Before we conclude the superintendent's report, we're gonna have our conversation around our self-evaluation. We'll go through, I hope everybody had a chance to review what we did. Standard 1, we were effective on all things except 1C, we were developing. And that is something that we've discussed in our board goals about regularly monitoring our progress for goals and such. So we'll work on that for this year. Standard 2, again, all effective, with highly effective being that we publicly support the decision of the majority and speak as a unified voice. We are 7, but we speak as 1. 3 is effective, with highly effective being board development and collaboration relationship with the superintendent, being respectful. Stop me if there's anything anybody wants to add or go over. Standard 4, again, all effective, with highly effective being ensuring the audit committee functions in accordance with the regulations. Kudos to Dr. Feldman for all that he does for that. Dr. Feldman. I'm promoting you today. Standard 5, effective and highly effective on all of those as well. Highly effective being board actively promotes the belief in students' success in all students in the district. Other than that, I feel that we were all pretty much on the same page. I feel like our comments were all very, very similar. The things that we know we need to work on, we've discussed and have rolled it into our goals, and our wins are.
There was one question I had about the actual act of renewing our code of conduct. Is that part of our reorganization meeting? When does that actually happen?
Well, I mentioned a board, specifically code of conduct. And I know we had talked, is that
We have a district one.
general code of conduct that we're talking about? Because I don't think I've ever seen a board code of conduct.
No,
And
we're
that's
just
what
following
this
the same
tool
code of conduct we
specifically
ask
said.
everybody else to follow.
Right.
Okay.
There was a question in the comments about reaffirming those. I mean, I know we adopt them every year, but do we have to reaffirm them as well? That's a
I
thing.
believe that's
It's part of
pretty much
code
the
of
same.
conduct.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was at, but I know that conversation was happening in some of the notes.
Well, I added, I think I commented on that. I would just say in public nonprofit organizations, it's more rather than a given, you have to make a, an assertion. There's typically a document that's signed by board members. And so I think, when I commented, it's that I understand we may, we all agree and understand the code of ethics within the overarching policy, but I think it's something we can look at. For given that the vast majority of nonprofit and institutions out there are following that, and that seems to be best practices. Typically that's just a document that's sent around and the board members sign it then.
I would just like to make a comment on the tool. Now that we've done it twice, I'm kind of thinking it's good. I definitely like it better. It's a lot easier to use. I'm
Was
liking,
the second time better than the first time?
oh, 100% better. You guys know how I am, 100% better. So it was, much
Good.
better.
Awesome.
Now she doesn't have to control the back end either.
No,
so.
You did submit your comments 3 times. a couple
Well,
of-
yeah,
all right,
I
but
wanted
that's
to
fine.
emphasize my
Yeah,
comments.
that's
That's why.
Does anybody have anything else about the evaluation? Okay. And with that, we conclude the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
All right, items of interest. We've got some PTA meetings, some trunk or treat festivities at a couple of our elementaries, fall activity night coming up. And obviously the Dollars for Scholars craft show. At this time, we'll go to our first open session. As per policy 1510, the board welcomes participation by district residents, persons having business within the district boundaries, and persons who do business with the Board of Education. All participants must be 16 years or older. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer and announce their name, address, and group affiliation if appropriate. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each and may not transfer their time to any other participant. The board, by resolution, may vote to extend the time of any speaker. Participants may register in advance with the district clerk. Those registering in advance will speak in the order of their sign up. Those not signed up will speak afterward. The total amount of the time for each public participation period is 30 minutes. Statements should be made to the board president, not individual board members. Participants may not discuss specific individuals or issues that fall under executive session. Participants must abide by the Board of Education policy and the district's code of conduct, both available on the district's website and posted around. The board president has the right to maintain decorum by interrupting or terminating a visitor's comments, requesting an individual to leave or finish up. Do we have any takers tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Can I have a consent agenda for new business, special ed, class placements, preschool placements, district audit, monthly financials, transportation, girls wrestling, overnight field trip requests, disposal of obsolete property, athletic team mergers?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone? That brings us to our second open session.
Informational.
Oh, informational items. I'm sorry, I totally missed that. Informational items first, Ms. Jason?
Just nothing we haven't mentioned before, just the quality presentation at the safety. And I would love to see that brought into the kids now that, you know, parents have been somewhat educated, but this is something that it's fluid as we speak of things, and it shouldn't be the last one. So that's it.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson?
Got a handful of things. I attended a webinar last week. It was named Meeting Today's Communications Challenges. It was actually very good. I really enjoyed the whole thing. And I just got an email today that gave me the handouts and actually recording them. I'm going to ship it over everybody so that you can see what it was that I went through. I did delegate orientation and training for the business meeting. I also attended the district parent safety forum. I found it to be very informative. Last Thursday, I went to hear Dr. Rick Timms, which I'm sure at least some of you have done over the past. He's always telling us where we're at money-wise with the state budget. He talked a little bit about the upcoming fiscal cliff, because when we've reached the point where the governor and the budget has actually now given us what the top is that we've been asking for over the years for foundation aid. So the question is, what are they going to do next? Are they going to increase it? Are they going to keep it the same? He talked a lot about possibly how changing the formula, which we all know is severely out of date. He put some of the dates on it too as to what it was. He gave a comparison of, because it's based on your students, the number of students in each district over the last dozen years or so, and all but a couple of them went down. We were one of the couple that didn't. We were up 23 in the last 12 years. So that was a down a ways and then back up again in that number. Some of them were down significantly, like over 1,000. So that's some of the bigger districts. So
What was his guess? What's going to happen?
he was pretty
Stayed
negative
same or
about it.
up?
No, he was pretty negative. He didn't think that we'd see much, if anything, in the way of increases. Just because of the stuff that's going on now, the controllers reports are coming out citing future deficits of very large numbers. He also talked quite a bit about the electric buses, the zero emission buses that are on the way. He threw a lot of numbers at him as to what he thought, and some of them were pretty outrageous, I think. I think he probably pushed him a little too far, and I know those of you who've seen him before have heard that too. I mean, he tends to go a little far. Having just a couple nights before, having had our presentation from Wendell come in, I explained to them what they did, that they calculated for us for our 57 buses, that it was going to take $11 million to build the charging station set up. And he quickly responded, well, is that, just 11 million cash, or is it finance? And I said, they didn't say. And he's, well, count on it being at least double. I'm thinking, no, it's not going to be at least double finance. I don't believe that. But anyway, but I mean, it's a lot of what he did say made a lot of good points too. Dr. Genestri and I spent a portion of the day yesterday with the mass media classes up at Niagara University. It was kind of fascinating to see what they did. They took them around and they broke it up into 3 groups. I want to thank Mrs. LeBrake and Mr. Koziel for inviting us. We took one group, they each took other groups of kids. They started off with our group, got a chance to listen and learn a little bit more about Niagara University and their programs, talk to them about the New Step classes that they're already taking and the availability of scholarships, which was quite a bit, I'm surprised, including just for kids who were in the New Step program, a $12,000 scholarship, $3,000 each over 4 years, in addition to a bunch of other ones that were some pretty significant money. And overall, I mean, the kids, and then they went to a TV studio that they got set up, and they got a chance to actually do a news broadcast, news weather, et cetera. The kids were loving that. And then they went into their radio station and got to see the whole setup there. And finally, you guys saw my text last night, was the business meeting after that time. It is the only one and only business meeting for NISBA every year. I'm not going to go through it all because this is all the stuff I took notes on. If you didn't look this afternoon, I sent over to Sherry a written report of how the whole process went through. So it is on the website right now. You can see. I do want at least a little bit of it. We, at the start, the quorum is, it's a virtual meeting set up using a Zoom technology, but they actually have us all in a listen-only attendee mode when we start. And if you're going to speak, they have to promote you, and it actually takes 20 to 30 seconds each time they promote somebody. So that drags it down to some extent. The meeting is required to have 200 delegates to create a quorum. We started off with 302. They elected the officers that they had put up for proposal. They started off like we do, asking for a consent agenda for the first 14 items, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them ended up being removed. The other 7 were approved right away by a vote of 304 to 2.
Is that all the sundowning ones?
Yeah, I think most of them were. As we go through, there was a couple that we, the amendments, and it was just about, I think there was 1 or 2 of the ones that were recommended by the NISBA team were defeated. The other ones all were pretty much passed by wide margins. Once you get to the ones that were not recommended, every one of them has to receive a motion and a second to be brought to the floor. Every one of them did. So we got all the way to the end of the pile. Some of them had a number of speakers. Several of them had amendments to go along with them. There was a few you guys had asked me, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go through my notes quickly here. There was a few where you had asked me to speak and put forward. I know that one of them was about the teachers' retirement system. We did vote yes as requested, even though that was not recommended. I was able to second the motion, but I was not able to speak. This was getting later in the meeting and people were starting to call the question quickly to try and get out of there. Meeting started at 4 o'clock and finished at 10 minutes to 12 last night. The rest of it, I mean, there's, bits and pieces. I know there was several in a row. There was, I think, 6 or 7 in a row towards the end that we had seen in previous years. There was a group of 6 school districts from out on Long Island that all have a pretty conservative philosophy in the way they do things. And they had to bring each one of those up, and out of all their resolutions, every one of them was voted no, except the last one. Sorry, I don't have which one it was in front of me, but anyway, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you have any particular questions about any resolutions in particular that we discussed last week, because I know obviously it took us a lot longer last week to discuss how to vote rather than we did the vote. Have
Did
any
you
other
bring up
questions?
my suggestion for lunches during the
I
summer?
think that's where they actually want to go with it. Yeah, they're just
Good.
straight through. That one went, that was a quick
I
one.
know that. got
Yeah,
voted
it got,
yes.
yeah, it got voted. Yeah, that was another one of those, like 290 to 10 or something like that. So that was pretty straightforward. Anyone else? Okay, that was everything for me.
All right, I'm gonna double back to Hunter because I'm so sorry, I forgot you.
That's fine. Last night, I attended the district's DEI committee meeting where myself and another student, Lily Fisher, presented on the activities and experiences from our students' ACT retreat earlier this year. We also discussed the development of an equity audit and what that would look like for the district and our schools. And then earlier today, our Student Government Association held a meeting, which we shared updates on activities we currently have going on at the high school, such as a duck hunt we're doing with the main office staff. We hid around 220 small resin ducks around the school. Students can turn them into the main office for prizes such as candy, snacks, or temporary tattoos. We also voted and confirmed our committee chairs today. This allows us to fully dive into all of our projects that we have planned for the year. We had a cabinet meeting planned for this Thursday, which all of our executives and chairs will meet to come up with goals for each committee. For example, our student safety committee is going to continue their focus on social and emotional well-being in addition to the physical safety of our students. Our diversity and inclusion committee is going to look into creating more awareness and celebrating the variety of cultural holidays within our calendar. Excuse me. And our Academics and Student Life Committee is going to continue the work to make students to feel welcomed and involved in our school community through Spirit Weeks, which we're planning one for Halloween now currently. More contests such as the Duck Hunt, in addition to our winter pep rallies and dance major events later in the year. The executives have come up with a very ambitious goal of putting on a talent show later this year around March. That we're starting to get the ball rolling on early. We've already met with Mr. Baker in the high school and he's on board with the idea. So we're establishing a special committee to look into getting this, how the process for auditions and all of that's going to work.
Just asking a quick question. Yeah, I know your predecessor had talked about having meetings with the head of lunches and cafeterias and that. Is that
Yes.
going to continue?
That is a
try and
goal.
Do that?
Yes, that is a goal for our environmental action and food safety committees to continue. The chair of environmental action, Haley Starr, previously with Farm to School grants, she's been instrumental with that. And our chair for food and nutrition, Matt Spence, both of them have worked closely over the last few years on everything involving district kitchen and the Paul food, which they'll look to continue this year as well.
Thank
Great. Ms. McDonald?
First of all, just kudos to our student leaders and our student government team. You guys, every time you give a report, you guys blow me away for like all the years I've been on the board. Really well done. Really look forward to seeing what you guys do this year. I was also at the DEI meeting yesterday. Apologies to Heritage Heights PTA. I was not able to attend their meeting last night, but I sent over some notes about the thought exchange, about the safety forum, and about our meeting tonight. And I will pass along anything that gets sent my way. And then I also attended the safety forum, which was like, I don't have kids for our community who doesn't know this about me. I don't have kids, so I am watching myself lose touch with technology as I get older. And it was really eye-opening for me. And it is a little scary, but I'm glad we're having discussions about it. And I hope that we continue to kind of make sure that we're having open conversations about how to keep each other and our students safe. So it was really well done for him, I think. And that's all from me.
Mr. Lible?
Yeah, I just, one thing, I attended the safety forum as well. I did not attend it in person, though I attended it virtually because of some things going on at home, but I thought it was well done and, echo the sentiments that were already expressed here.
That it?
That's it.
All right. Mr. Feldman?
Greetings from Chicago. Thanks for allowing me to join remotely. I just want to comment one thing. I brought it up last week with the merger of the athletic team that's on the agenda tonight with the hockey team. I'm glad to see the administration I have a vested interest in that program. And in fact, kind of the dip in enrollment in the district hockey program as well. I was coaching it, so you can blame that one on me, but I'm glad to see that's progressing forward. But that's all I have. I appreciate it though.
Wonderful. Thank you. Mr. Belanti?
I just attended a couple of special volleyball games this past week. So the boys team played at Williamsville South in a breast cancer awareness night. So they had basket raffles and the boys all wore, but I think the coach brought pink shoelaces for all the boys to wear from Williamsville South. So that was a good night there. And then we had senior night last night for the boys team, and Coach Cicero, as always, honors parents and players. Very nice for that game. Tough game though, but I thank you for doing that for our boys and their parents. That's it for me.
All right. I just would like to apologize on the record for having to step out last week unexpectedly. All is well. So that's all I have. Now that brings us to the second open session. Do we have anybody that would like to speak tonight?
Good evening. My name is Lori Roth. I am a teacher here at Sweet Home since 2001 and I live on Grand Island. I stand here before you embarrassed and angry. Embarrassed that my district repeatedly refuses to meet with our teachers union. Angry, my district walked away from the table even before the contract expired. The Sweet Home Way embodies working together, all parties in our Sweet Home community. If you believe that, what are you waiting for? We, the teachers, are part of this Sweet Home community and ready to negotiate. Hear my call to action. Negotiate now for a fair and equitable contract. Never in my time at Sweet Home have teachers been working without a contract. We teach our students to be problem solvers and find solutions. We teach our students that they can do hard things. I believe what I teach my students. Sadly, this is not what I see from administration this past 146 days here at Sweet Home. 109 days of teachers working without a contract, 146 days of non-negotiations. Never in my memory has this district given up on teachers before. Never has this district walked away from negotiations even before the contract expired. Sweet Home has always been a lighthouse. Even before we were formally deemed a lighthouse school, we were the ones other districts looked to as role models for action plans. As I see it now, administration's current plan is no plan, simply wasting time and money. Time when we are not working together. Money waiting to pay an outside mediator. This is not the Sweet Home way. Sweet Home teachers are working without a contract. Teachers will continue to pour our hearts and souls into students. I am asking administration to do something. Stop hiding behind a declaration of impasse. Walking away from negotiations and waiting to pay an outside mediator is not the Sweet Home way. I am here speaking tonight because I am not giving up. I am here tonight to appeal to you, please. Be a problem solver and come to the table to negotiate. Think win-win, work together to find common ground. Negotiate now for a fair and equitable contract. Thank you for my 3 minutes tonight.
Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll continue. I'd like to have a motion for personnel 1, teaching and administrative. And 2, service.
So moved.
Second.
Any conversation? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? All right. That takes us to motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a nice night.